This is Chase's 2019 Husqvarna TE-150. Today I'm going to talk about some of the issues and maintenance processes with the kickstand or the side stand. So there are a few things that can go wrong with this design, and there's some maintenance things that you need to take care of on a regular basis so that you don't have trouble when you're out on the trail. The way that the spring attaches to the kickstand itself can cause a problem with this screw. I've had trouble with these screws coming loose, and I've talked to other people who've had the same problem. What happens is, as the kickstand comes down, the spring bracket puts a counterclockwise turning motion on the screw, and there's a little collar in there that's supposed to allow that to turn without backing the screw out. But if you don't keep some type of lubricant on that collar, it can create enough friction to actually back the screw out. If you're on the trail and that screw falls out, you're most likely going to lose the screw, the collar, along with this little pivot bracket. You might even lose the spring, and that's happened to me once before. Another potential problem is the bushing. This bushing that goes inside the kickstand, there's a couple of O-rings on it, but it's not extremely well sealed, and you can see even when they're new, there's some play back and forth in the kickstand. And this bushing tends to get worn, it gets dried out, all the grease gets washed out of it, and the O-rings don't hold up very well, so that can potentially cause a problem with the bushing and or the kickstand wearing out where it bolts to the frame of the bike. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove the kickstand so I can check the condition of the O-rings and make sure that it's got grease in there. This is a T45 Torx. The best way I found to do this is just remove this main screw before you remove the spring or this bracket. If you take this screw loose first, the spring's going to put a lot of pressure on there, and you may damage the threads in the actual kickstand. The spring is really difficult to take off while it's got tension on it, so I've found that it's easiest if you just put the kickstand in the up position, kind of put some downward pressure on it, and work it off like that. Then you can disconnect the spring from this bracket like this. There's also a little stainless steel plate behind the kickstand, and all that needs to be cleaned up as well. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this bushing and see what the condition is. It's not very obvious until you start cleaning this up that there are two O-rings. There's an O-ring there and an O-ring here. And if you let this joint get dry, those O-rings degrade very quickly. So now I've got all my parts cleaned up. O-rings look like they're in pretty good shape. I'm going to go ahead and put it back together with some grease. Like I said, this bike is a 2019 model. It's only got 40 hours on it, and it's already getting some wear inside the kickstand. And I'll show you on my other bike how these wear out over time, and once they wear out, it becomes impossible for them to hold in the grease, and it can cause other problems as well. So now I'm going to reinstall it on the bike. This little plate goes in first. Put some grease on that where it contacts the side stand. I'm going to go ahead and put some Loctite on this main bolt. Now the best way I've found to reinstall this, hook the spring on first. Now once you have your spring connected back to your bracket, you can use the screwdriver as a guide to kind of help you get the kickstand back into place. Reinstall the bolt. I'm going to torque that to 26 foot-pounds. Now I'm going to show you one of the problems that can happen if you don't maintain this pivot point. So this is my 2018 KTM 250 XCW. This bike has got about 180 hours on it. And I started noticing some wear on the swing arm. And I was trying to figure out, okay, what could be scratching up my swing arm? And what I discovered is that my side stand has so much play. It's gotten worn out here. Either the bushing and the side stand or both have gotten worn to the point where there's a lot of side-to-side play. When it's in the up position, the spring's pulling it in toward the swing arm, and it's causing the swing arm to contact the side stand when the swing arm comes up. So that's definitely a problem. I've ordered another kickstand and bushing, and I'll be replacing that. Another thing that can go wrong with these, happened to me during the race, is that if this screw falls out and the spring comes loose, not only will you lose the screw and the bracket and the little bushing, and you might lose the spring, the kickstand's going to fall down and you're going to have to stop your race to use this little rubber strap to hold it up. And what I do now in races, I try to always remember to go ahead and strap the stand before the race starts. So this design is a little overcomplicated in my opinion. I don't really know why they use this design. The Japanese bikes, I had a WR250F, and it just has a post welded on the side stand, and the spring connects from the frame to that post. This is kind of a high maintenance thing. It works really well if you maintain it and maintain it regularly, but most people don't. And a lot of people end up having a problem with their kickstand on relatively new bikes, which can be frustrating. So it is what it is. If you got KTMs, Husqvarnas, you might want to check out that pivot point before it gets worn to this point, or before you lose all of your hardware here during the race or during a ride. So I've got this Tusk replacement kickstand, and I bought this because it's less than half the price of the OEM one. And I'm going to open it up and compare the two before I install it. So it appears to be the same length. It looks very similar. Not too many differences. It comes with the bushing and the little spring attachment, as well as this backing plate. Now I do notice right off the bat, this backing plate is significantly thicker on the Tusk. 1.5 millimeters on the Tusk one. OEM one is right at 1 millimeter, 1.02 millimeters. So about a half a millimeter thicker. Some grease on this. I'll put some Loctite on the main bolt. I'm going to reinstall it just like I did the other one. It feels nice and tight. There's definitely a lot less play in that than there was in the other one. It does seem to fit really nicely, so I'm pretty happy with that. Have you had any problems with your KTM or Husqvarna kickstand? If so, let me know down in the comments and let me know how you fixed it. If you enjoyed this video, click that like button and subscribe. It really helps us out. Thanks for watching.